All right, we're jumping right into what's basically a high-stakes digital cat and mouse game. It's a story about how a new generation of innovators is starting to fight back and win against some incredibly sophisticated financial fraud.
So let me ask you something. Could a simple sound file, just an audio clip, actually steal your money? It sounds like science fiction, right? But what if a cleverly timed sound could trick a business owner into thinking they just got paid, when in reality, their bank account is still empty?
Well, that's not a hypothetical. It's a very real scam that's happening right now. It's called the fake UPI soundbox scam. It takes those audio cues that merchants have learned to trust and turns them into a weapon. It's a perfect mix of simple tech and really clever social engineering. And trust me, it is just the tip of the iceberg. To really appreciate the solutions we're going to talk about, you first have to grasp the sheer scale of the problem. And look, we're not talking about those old poorly worded phishing emails anymore. This is a whole different level of cybercrime. The creativity here is, well, it's kind of scary, honestly. You've got these fake UI overlays. Imagine this. A perfect pixel-for-pixel copy of your bank's login screen pops up over the real app. You punch in your password thinking you're safe, but nope, you've just handed over the keys. And then there's this dropper technique. So sneaky. You download what looks like a totally harmless app, but later on, it secretly downloads and runs the real malware. And the financial fallout? Oh, it's just staggering. Just look at this number. In one Indian state, Madhya Pradesh, we're talking about over 1,000 crore rupees. To put that in perspective for you, that's well over 120 million US dollars gone, stolen in just a 4-year window. But here's the number that really, really tells the story. Of all that money, all those millions, guess what the recovery rate is? A jaw-dropping 0.18%. That's not just low, it's practically nothing. It's a huge sign that the current methods just aren't cutting it. Okay, so that's the problem. It's huge. But in the face of this massive challenge, something pretty amazing is happening. A powerful new collaboration is taking shape. We're seeing the country's brightest young minds get called to the front lines, literally forging new weapons for this digital fight. And the battlefield? It's the National Cyber Shield Hackathon. Now, don't just think of this as some school project. This is a full-blown strategic alliance. You've got heavy hitters like the State Bank of India teaming up with the Madhya Pradesh police. They're creating a direct pipeline, taking an idea from a student's laptop and turning it into a real-world tool that police can actually use. So, what kind of brilliant ideas come out of a pressure cooker like that? Well, let's break down one of the winning concepts. At its core, it's something they call a dual-engine defense. The key idea here isn't one single check. It's about using multiple layers to create what they call a funnel of suspicion. It's a super efficient way to weed out threats. So this dual engine has two parts, right? First, you've got static analysis. Think of this like checking the blueprints of a building for flaws before you even start construction. It's fast, it's efficient, and it catches all the obvious problems right away. But then you've got dynamic analysis. This is more like bringing in a crew to stress test the finished building, shaking it, putting it under pressure to see how it actually behaves. This is how you catch those sneaky, hidden threats that you'd never find just by looking at the plans. Now, here's the magic. All the data from both of those engines gets fed into an on-device AI model, and this is a massive leap. See, old-school antivirus software relies on a list of known viruses. But this AI, it learns the patterns of bad behavior. And what does that mean? It means it can spot brand new, never-before-seen threats, what we call zero-day attacks. It's predictive, not just reactive, a total game changer. Okay, but here's where this whole thing gets really cool. This platform isn't just about building a better shield. It's got a secret weapon, something designed to go on the attack. And it's called the Trap Master, an offensive counterintelligence module. I mean, that just sounds intense, doesn't it? And it is. This system doesn't just block the malware. It talks to it, it lies to it, and it pulls intelligence from it. The tech behind this is a classic cybersecurity tool called a honeypot. The idea is so simple, but it's brilliant. You basically set up a decoy system, some digital bait that looks like a really juicy, valuable target. You just leave it out there and you wait for the criminals to bite. And when they do, you get to watch every single move they make in a safe, controlled space. So here's exactly how the Trap Master flips the script on these guys. First, it detects the malicious app. Then, it secretly reroutes all of that app's traffic to the honeypot. The honeypot then pretends to be the hacker's own server, tricking the malware into spilling all its secrets. The attacker on the other end?
They think their hack is working perfectly, but in reality, every keystroke, every command is being recorded.
And the whole point here isn't just stopping one attack. It's about gathering this incredibly valuable, actionable intelligence. We're talking about getting the attacker's real IP address, their server infrastructure, even their TTPs. That's their tactics, techniques, and procedures. This is literally their playbook, and it's the kind of evidence that turns a simple malware alert into a real, live investigative lead for the police. So what does all this tech actually mean in the real world? Because this is so much more than just clever code. This kind of innovation has a huge, tangible impact on the institutions fighting this fight. And you know what? Ultimately, on all of us. Remember that awful 0.18% recovery rate? That's a perfect example of what experts call the actionability gap. Police forces are just swamped with cases. A system like this acts as a force multiplier. It automates all that initial forensic work and basically hands investigators a ready-made evidence kit. They can spend their time actually pursuing criminals instead of just drowning in paperwork. And look, the value here is crystal clear for everyone involved. For a massive bank like SBI, it means proactive protection for their customers. For the MP Police, it means getting those actionable leads they desperately need to start clearing that huge case backlog. And for their tech partners, it's an incredible source of unique threat intelligence, seeing exactly how these criminals operate in the wild. So this whole project really leaves us with a big question, doesn't it? For years, cybersecurity has all been about building higher and higher walls. But maybe, just maybe, the future of security isn't about the wall. What if the best defense is actually a really smart offense? What if the key isn't just blocking attacks, but actively luring in, deceiving, and unmasking the attackers themselves? It's a pretty big shift in thinking, that's for sure.